Yeah, but Alejandra, you can take.
I'm sorry. Give me one quick minute. I'm so sorry. Just my Doberman. Give me 1 second to handle him. Be right back.
No worries.
Lucas, maybe I can introduce myself. I
Yeah,
think
perfect. I actually
it's the
wanted to
first
ask you,
time we
like,
see each other.
yeah.
I'm Marco. I'm the co-founder of Pulpo.
Uh-huh.
It's well, Samir opened an Asian API a while ago on using a tool for measuring certain KPIs on pull requests. And I've been talking with Samir and Barbaño these days on how to use Pulpo to accomplish the objectives of the community growth working group. Maybe I can send some links.
All right, I'm back.
Hi, Alejandra. Um, just to give some context.
It was discussion. Okay.
Yeah, actually, I think you can already see the dashboard because, well, it's a GitHub app that it's already installed in Async API, some of their repos. So I think that if you go here, you should be able to see some of the metrics.
I'm sorry. What is this link? What does this have to do with the working group? Sorry, I missed
Marco.
context.
Yeah, so I'm Marco, by the way, Alejandra. I'm the co-founder of Pulpo, and I've been talking with Samir and Barbaño these days on how to use Pulpo to accomplish the objectives of the community growth working group. Because some of the metrics that Pulpo provides have to do with the KPIs that are established on for example. Samir wanted to use Pulpo to, for example, like reduce the time on that maintainers spend reviewing pull requests. And this is a metric that we use on Pulpo. And we also send reminders on Slack in a determined, like a concrete, like a specific channel for, sending updates to maintainers, and you can explore the data on which maintainers are reviewing. For example, there is a KPI that is increasing the number of non-Postman maintainers, and you can also see that.
Oh, okay, got it. Now my brain feels that I'm on the same page as the other people in this call. Thank you for the background. And I also clicked through and I went to Pulpo website and was also reading Zani, what he wrote in the discussion. Got it, makes sense. And it looks like he's proposing that they install this in 3 repos to start: Studio, Glee, and CLI.
Mhm.
Cool. And I'm thinking, well, they don't directly affect me. Sure.
Yeah,
whatever.
I'm just here to help if I can help in anything. It's the first time I join a meeting. I don't know how it works really.
So actually, I have some questions, but not sure if, like, should I already start questioning, or do you want to somehow, Alejandra, like, because we're experimenting, but you're with the experiment, you're the host of the meeting, so I don't want to
Right, I have to
jeopardize.
pretend to be
Okay.
okay. Well, then, if I'm going to pretend to be official, which is very hard for me, but anyway, so then I actually do want to open and share the meeting agenda to make sure we don't just do whatever. And today is okay, got it. Here we go. So, and then I'm just sharing it here in our chat so that you can both open it up. And so if you folks open this up, you can see as you scroll further down the agenda that our previous working group leader, sorry if it's the wrong term, had in the agenda was introduction, which we've definitely covered. Mention the objectives of the working group and see if anyone wants to make other proposals. While we did not mention the objectives of the working group, we have heard a proposal so far from Pulpo, so I guess that's where we are in the agenda. We also have initiatives focused on a single repository, which and why, as far as for applying the working group. Oh, I'm sorry, maybe I should be screen sharing. My bad. I think that would have made it easier. Sorry about that. Can you see my screen okay?
Yeah.
I believe so far, I thought website was the repository we were using to test out community working group, but now I realize I'm not sure. Do you happen to know, Lucas?
No, I don't know why website would be a trial.
Okay, so then I
Focuses
think
on-
maybe we haven't voted yet to decide which is the one we're going to test out the working group. So, okay, so I think that's where we're at. And then of course how we want to organize the work. Should we mention the objectives of the working group before we go further? Just because it's the first recorded call live and some folks might want to watch it later. All right,
Mm.
what are our objectives? Let's see. I hope somebody knows them. This is the internal async KPI Slack community growth working group channel, but I'm not sure where we've written down the objectives because I wasn't sorry, I wasn't doing that.
But what
Um,
they will be in the pull requests, I guess, right? For the community growth.
In which pull request?
In the community repo, the pull request for the working group setup, shouldn't it be there?
Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, okay. Thank you. All right. I'm glad somebody that knows what's going on joined the meeting. All right, so I'll put this link in the channel as well. In the chat as well, I meant. And mhm. This is the one, right? Yes, okay. So actually, I think that the description might cover it. Might say here. Oh no, responsibilities of the members. No. I'm trying to see where it actually describes the working group itself. It just says, we have this short description, aims to ensure community growth in a healthy and sustainable way. But
I sent a link where I found some OKRs, KRs of this working group. Yep.
Thank you, Marco. Cool. All right, so I'll click on this first one. It says, here are some objectives. The number of active non-postman maintainers in each monetized repository becomes bigger than 5. And then the next one we see is the number of active ambassadors goes from 5 to 30. So we know that we have at least these to start. And then going back to the agenda, these are currently the objectives we have for the working group. Of course, this may or may not change depending on how long the working group is needed, right? Because maybe we don't need the working group because we do so well in 6 months that after that we don't need it anymore. Who knows? But then I guess that brings us to this point where Marco, introduced himself and Pulpo, and he gave a proposal. And I know that Lucas wanted to respond and he had some questions for the proposal. Should we take it back to you, Lucas?
We can. So like my question is basically because I see that I made some comments in the discussion that you linked, but I don't recall really what was it about. But basically what I understand is that Pulpo is giving GitHub metrics.
Yeah.
In short. Now, the most important question, like the metrics that you provide, are you aware and you're monitoring maybe the work of the Chaos project from Linux Foundation? I'm not sure if you're familiar with Chaos.
Yeah. Yeah, I know them. Mhm.
Do you like because I just logged into Pulpo and I see some stats. Do
Yeah,
you
there are.
do you provide some chaos based
Yeah,
like
so I think the Linux Foundation, the Chaos project, they provide the Dora metrics. I don't know if they provide the four of them. Um, so we also do provide these metrics, but with an integration with Slack. So you can actually create squads or groups of developers and set objectives in these groups. Like for example, maybe you want to achieve a code review time of, I don't know what's the typical code review time in async API, but maybe, I don't know, a week or 3 days or something like that. And you can also send reminders to a specific channel. And also, well, so Pulpo, we are used to work with uh, private companies, and they have also this kind of objectives. And in bigger companies, when these objectives are not met, Pulpo also works as a feedback collector. I don't know if Async API is interested in this, but basically how it works is that when an objective is not met, Pulpo asks a question in Slack to the people involved behind that objective to basically to detect bottlenecks in the engineering team. And we combine this feedback with the objective metrics to provide like a holistic view on what are the specific bottlenecks causing what problems are causing the bottlenecks in the metrics. Yep.
okay, like so I mean we probably would have to have Samir and because like there are like for us in API, especially from my perspective, like so for example, me, I'm maintainer in some projects, but I'm also overarching the whole organization. And from points of metrics, I think there are two different things. For maintainers of specific repo, like let's say Studio, where Samir is, maybe he needs some specific metrics on response time, etc. I don't know, some reminders that say functionality typically for maintainer. What metrics I would care about, and I think as a community we should care about long term is for example, like some time ago, Alejandra started a discussion that there are some projects where we don't have much more activity, but so maybe we should archive or not. But it's for now, it's all based on individual's opinion that we think that it's not maintained or it's maintained, what it actually means that it's maintained, etc. And metrics would help in these cases if we overarch the whole organization. So let's say we say, okay, from our perspective, a active repository is where response time is 7 days, and I don't know, the ratio of issues created to closed is something. And we could have such goals. We could expect to metric the same way all the repos. And from the metrics, we could check like the ones that perform the worst. And then we could have someone from the community growth, but that's imaginary now. I'm not sure if the working group would like to work on it, but let's say we could have a someone proactively then checking with maintainers like, hey, like why you're lacking with the response time, like checking comments, maybe a community is actually angry because this is important project, but it's lacking support, etc.
Yes.
So, but I think my view is completely different because I'm looking more from a organization cleanup maintenance point of view. And I bet Samir is more focused on a single project.
Yeah. I think maybe you can use Pulpo for both objectives. I think so. You can use in this long-term view. I don't know if you enter into the dashboard, but you can filter for repos, owners, reviewers, cycle time, number of approvals, and you can explore all the data quite easily. So you can have this overview of the whole organization. And then also you can use some of the tools that we create for improving the day-to-day, as you know, in the specific repo, in the specific week. Hey, let's achieve this objective of this week of keeping code review time below, I don't know, whatever. And also, we are a small team, and we really listen to how to improve the product for the use cases. So some of the metrics that you mentioned, like issues created, the ratio between issues created, I don't remember what you said. Some of the metrics that you mentioned, we don't have it yet, but if they make sense also for other users, we can implement it.
Yeah, from my experience, because I tried few approaches with the metrics for GitHub, and my experience is that what I expect as a user is recommendations rather than like figuring out what's the best metric, That's why I asked first about chaos, because my understanding is that chaos is defining the best practices across from all the open source projects. So if they say, and I'm async API is also a standard. So for me, chaos is also a standard. So I automatically think that if chaos says monitor that and the other thing, then I will say, yeah, we need that because chaos is more experienced and we should use it. So that's the biggest problem, like defining really what we need.
So chaos is there's this Google research group called DORA, which defined quite a long ago the DORA metrics. Actually, they define like a whole approach on developer experience and how to measure developer productivity. And they define these 4 metrics, which are 2 metrics on velocity and 2 metrics on stability. The velocity ones are cycle time and deployment frequency, and the stability ones change failure rate and mean time to recover. We have those metrics also in Pulpo. Well, we still do have to implement the change failure rate, because it's quite different in depending on how you do it, the deployments. But yeah, we also focus on that on the standard. But we tried our different approaches, combining these objective metrics with the feedback also from the developers themselves. Now we do like this in the moment feedback requests when objective fail, and also in the future we will implement like long-term surveys. But yeah, that's our approach. Also, we create these kind of tools that work along the metrics to improve the metrics itself. Maybe it's not an useful tool, I think, for async API, but we have a tool for code reviews that's probably more useful for private companies to bring code reviews into the Slack. But I understand that async API, you want to keep all the conversations also always on GitHub, I guess.
I mean, we tried in the past some Slack integrations with GitHub. Don't remember the name, but yeah, nobody.
I mean, what we do is you also keep the conversation in GitHub. It's like every time the solution we made creates like an ephemeral Slack channel every time you create a pull request. And in that channel, that's all the people involved in the pull request, the creator and the reviewer, and the conversation is saved in both places, in GitHub and in Slack. And in Slack, you have, if you have workflows and GitHub Actions, and you can have customize all the notifications from GitHub in that Slack channel. And then if you can also have the conversation there, but it's all goes back to GitHub, and we impersonate the person. So, I mean, the message in GitHub will appear as the person commented on GitHub, even though they responded on Slack. So it's like, yeah.
Yeah. So I like not sure you, Alejandra, but like in case of stuff related to the trial that Samir did. Without Samir, I don't think we know.
So the thing is that we are still waiting for someone to install Pulp on Slack.
Got it.
And we are passing like a procurement from Postman. I don't know.
Wait, what does Postman have to do with
Yeah, exactly.
installing? Because Postman is not related to Async API Slack, two separate entities.
I don't know. I don't know how it works, but Samir, well, I don't know.
So
They're just waiting for like an approval from, I don't know.
I
So you
think
mean so Postman would be ready to pay for it? You mean, or
Yes.
okay,
oh
nice.
got it. Okay, well, I think that to Lucas's point, we can't really move forward in this proposal since Amzani isn't here in the conversation because he's really the
Yeah.
one who would be working with this collaboration in particular. So what I'll do is, when we finish our call, eventually I'll be posting the meeting notes in our public community growth working group Slack channel. And then there I'll tag Amzani and let him know, hey, following up, Marco joined the call, et cetera, and we need you to follow up with him about this. So then that way we make sure that Amzani gets a heads up to tag team with you. But thank you so much for reaching out and giving the rest of us more context. I do think maybe it makes sense to move on to the other thing, or
Yeah.
never mind, because want to say something.
No, just tiny comment also regarding the overarching, let's call it this way, statistics that you said that you even don't support yet, like the ratio of issues created versus closed. Just to be transparent, I'm also now in the process with Linux Foundation because they also provide us, because we're part of Linux Foundation, they give us some GitHub Insights stats. They released some V3 and we're in the process of actually getting it enabled for Async API. So also just to be transparent with you that that's also on the other side, something that I'm pushing inside the Linux Foundation, but what it's gonna be, I don't know yet.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
I'm just here to help if we can. I don't know if
Keep chatting, basically. Yeah.
Do you want me to move on, or what would you like to do?
Yeah, because I'm gonna leave you anyway in 1 or 2 minutes because I have to go take my daughter to some after school event.
Well, the next meeting agenda point was, and just screen sharing to make it easier for also our other awesome people that joined the call. As we can see here, initiatives focus on a single repository, which and why. And as far as initiatives, we were earlier in the call mentioning this link, which mentions increasing our non-Postman maintainers in each repository to be more than 5, and ambassadors going from 5 to 30. So these two being currently our two main initiatives. And then going back to the agenda, we were supposed to, I guess we're maybe should open a vote, a open community vote on which repository we should test this new initiatives for this community group. I'm not sure if we already have a vote going on or something. Maybe Thuli, do you have any more context as a community management person? You're on mute in case you are responding. I'm not sure if you are.
Hey, hey, sorry, I just joined in. Please, I'm trying to catch up. What were you saying?
Oh yeah, no worries. I was just wondering because I'm catching up too because since Barbaño, moved on to her next role, and no one else was there to host and lead, follow the agenda that she had already set up for us. I'm just trying to fill in and gather information. So essentially what I was asking is, in the agenda, the next point was to discuss this working group's initiatives. And we also have the goal of starting out testing this out in one repository first before, just doing this at a mass scale. So I was saying, I guess we need to open a public vote to vote on which repository should be the first one to test this out. But I then said, I don't know, maybe there's already a public vote going on. And so as community manager, I was wondering, oh, Thuli, do you happen to have any extra context on this? I think she's still, oh, somebody got muted. Oh, so Lucas muted Thuli. But
Yeah,
then...
I muted just temporarily. She can unmute herself. I just, because there
okay.
was a lot of noise, I couldn't hear. Yeah.
Got it. And then she did respond in chat. She says no, she does not have more context. So okay, good. Thanks, Thuli, for at least letting know. So as far as I know, we don't have yet posted a public community discussion for voting in which repository to test our two initiatives of the working group yet. So to me, that sounds like perhaps at the end of this call, besides the meeting notes, I just go ahead and open that public discussion unless someone is aware of the vote already happening. And I guess I'll go check our discussions and I'll first see if there's something, but I don't think there is. I don't know, Lucas, do you know something?
Yep. So I have to leave. I made you a host. I'll
Okay.
stay on the call because I'm afraid that if I leave, that I might close it. So I'll stay on the call. Once the call finish, just end it because you're a host, and the live stream will stop. And if it comes to what I know, so Sergio is also on holidays, but last week he asked me a bunch of questions about what do you feel about the community growth? How what could community growth do to onboard more maintainers? And he was writing to me, but he was writing that he's writing these notes somewhere, putting them somewhere, but I don't know where.
Wait, he was writing what you said? Like he didn't have his notes written anywhere or
he was
what?
putting this note. Oh yeah, okay. He put these notes. Okay, so there's a discussion that Thuli just linked. So maybe that's gonna help. But now I'm really sorry I have to go.
Okay,
So-
thank you, Lucas. Have a good night. All right, well, Mr. Lucas is off to live his real life. And okay, so then I'm gonna go ahead and screen share so we can see the link that Thuli just shared with us in the chat. Thuli found this discussion, seeking feedback, community growth working group initiatives. All right, so looks like there's a call to action. And they're essentially asking, Sergio is asking in this discussion, hey, maintainers, contributors, or anyone who is wanting to start contributing, asking these following questions and providing feedback here directly in comments. So it doesn't seem like we have much going on here, but it seems like this is to help us determine initiatives, but it does not seem like it's going to be related to, what was the original point? Let me remember. Right. It does not seem to be a discussion for voting on which repository to test out these initiatives first. So to me, this confirms that I'll check later. And if I don't actually find that discussion, then I'll just go ahead and open it so we can then actually take care of this point, which is finally getting community vote on which repository to test out our initiatives first. So that sounds good to everyone. Then I think for now we can move on to the next point. And the meeting agenda would be, how do we want to organize the work? Of course, this begs the question, what work is involved? So going back to our key initiatives, so increasing maintainers and number of active ambassadors going from 5 to 30. I can't answer much to the active ambassadors thing because I was not managing the program myself, so I don't have as much background context into this. But I do have some thoughts to share in this initiative of increasing our non-postman maintainers to be more than 5 for each repository. I am currently working on finalizing our 2023 Google Season of Docs application. And this year we are proposing community documentation focus projects. And one of the projects will be building out contributor guides for, code contributor, documentation contributor, and the different levels, like say, for example, being a maintainer, and just guides to onboard these folks in different areas of contribution. And we had discussed that making the onboarding experience easier, automating the onboarding experience into using async KPI should count toward this working group's initiatives, which is, increasing maintainers. We should be able to increase our maintainers if we make the process for becoming a maintainer clear and simple. And, so currently I have that in line up, and we should be submitting that proposal end of this month to Google. So we'll soon find out if that's how part of the work can be organized. Like maybe there's a chunk of work that GSOD does that ends up helping this community working group, the goals that this community working group had. But I'd like to, I guess, open this for discussion. I know that community growth is not just docs, there's different tasks. And I don't know, perhaps Suli, who just recently joined this working group as community manager, do you have more thoughts or something that you wanted to share about this point, Suli?
Honestly, not yet, Alice, since I was still kind of like, since I joined last week, so I'm still kind of getting used to the community growth, like the objectives. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
Okay,
So I'm sure in the next meeting I'll have like a few points to share on my thoughts as well. So yeah.
that makes sense. And if what I like about this is that I think since this is so new, this helps us identify like if we're on the same page. For example, Thuli just joined this working group, and Barbaño just left this working group. So I'm catching up to speed on some things. Thuli's catching up to speed on some things. So I think that this is a very new thing. So it's probably a lot of us, we're going to be learning this together in the next few weeks, I would assume. All right. So if we don't have more points for discussion for this one, this was just left here as a placeholder in case somebody wanted to add a topic to the meeting agenda, but so far only Marco had, and we already went through his topic. As far as next steps, my understanding is that today after the meeting ends, I will be or should be uploading the notes in our community growth Slack channel. So I'll be adding some meeting notes about what we discussed today, and we'll be tagging folks for follow-up, such as Amzani, to reach over with Marco on his proposal for Pulpo. And other than that, I believe we would have to set up a follow-up community meeting. I guess I don't know yet if people want to have more public community meetings for this working group or not, or how often. I assume that's something that we have to follow up and get a vote on from everyone as well, and then we'll take it from there. Philly? Oh, you unmuted
Yeah,
yourself.
I think the next thing is to like, since I did. Oh my God. But is there still noise or something? Can you still hear me?
Yes, I can hear you great. Perfect.
Oh, okay. No, I was saying that, yeah, the next steps is to just like reorganize the working group, like to select a new chair, then like redefine like everything that we really need as a community working group goals. Then, yeah, the next step is to like organize more meetings. At least by the next meeting, I'm sure everything will be like set. We will know what is what. Yeah.
Yep. Sounds good. All right, so I guess we just have a little bit of time left. Are there any other questions and answers? I mean, I guess questions, not answers. Wow. Okay, it doesn't look like we have any more questions. So if we're all good, then I guess that would be it for our first working group community meeting. Sound good for everyone?
Yep.
All right. Well,
Yes.
thank you, Thule. Thank you, Lucas, Marco, Yoshi, and everyone else who will watch this later on. And please let us know your thoughts or your ideas about our initiatives and how you would like to participate in, as a reminder, in our Slack channel. And I'll see you folks on the next stream. Have a good day.
Okay, bye.